is 0 if the numerator is 0. And I'm fine. That's fine. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Then you draw.
Any variation that works for you, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Completely agreed. Okay, moving on to the next one. We have 5x plus 7 squared equals 90. That's the next equation. Anyone has any questions on the first one? Any questions on the first one? Joe, any questions on the first one?
Looking at the restrictions that you talk about, x plus 3. So x shouldn't be, it's not equal to, x plus 3 is equal to 0. It's not equal to 0, right?
Yes. So your question is that x should not be what? Good. Other questions? I mean the previous page?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first step for this equation, please.
Divide by 5.
Of course. So then I have x plus 7 squared equals? Very good.
Square root. But you have to do.
Of course I have, because I have 4 methods, and this is the easiest and the most reliable in this case. My first thought is this. Good. So the left-hand side is x plus 7. Do not forget, it's what type of equation is it and how many solutions do I have to have? Exactly. It's quadratic and I have to have 2 solutions. Don't forget. Write it down. This is part of identifying the equation correctly. And then what do I have to write?
Square root of 16 plus 2.
I cannot take the square root of a sum. The square root of a plus b,
Oh, so.
not possible.
Oh, so
Not simplified.
9 square root.
Ah, very good. 9 and 2. Good. That I agree, because the square root of a product can be simplified. Awesome. Well done. So what do I write?
X plus 7 equals plus or minus.
Ah, awesome.
3.
Yes.
Square root 3.
Yes. That's why I said I write 2 solutions so I don't forget. Because if I forget plus or minus, is it clear that I'm not going to get 2 solutions? I'm only going to get 1, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So then the final answer is x equals -7 plus or minus 3, the square root of 2. Very good. Well done.
And that's fine. for
That's
that
it.
answer.
That's it.
Good job.
Good job. Very good job. X squared minus 6x equals -2. In this equation, we're asked to solve using completing the square. Okay. What is the method of completing the square? What does it say? What do I have to do?
6 over 2.
Yes, -6 over 2. Awesome. Which is?
36 over 2.
I have to
Oh,
simplify
you
it
have to
first.
simplify it?
Yes.
-3.
Yes. And then -3 squared. Good. So what do I add to both sides? Awesome. X squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 9 minus 2. Be very careful. You cannot just add to one side. You have to add to both sides. Is that clear?
I mean, you didn't do that
That's the
in
method.
notes. You just did the
Identify the middle coefficient, divide it by 2 and square. That's the method of completing the square.
So, if 5, at this point,
Yes?
5, take minus 1, beginning with the left on the right side.
Then you're going to mess it up because you're going to add 9 and -7, and you're going to get 7. 9 and -2, you're going to get 7. You're not going to complete the square.
No, what I'm saying is taking the minus 2 on this side and bringing it to the left side.
You're going to add 9 to both sides. You're going to add 2. You're going to mess it up and not complete the square.
How?
That's my point. I can show you how, but I think we should stay on track. -2 has nothing to do with the problem for now. Has nothing to do. It will mess us up if we move it to the other side.
So why did you do that? So where did you get this 9?
By squaring -3. That's the method of completing the square. You have to remember the 4 steps. I can't say more. So number 1, you have to identify the middle coefficient, which is -6. Write it down. There are 4 steps. If you don't have it in your notes, you should write it down. So complete the square has 4 steps. In step number 1, I have to identify the middle coefficient. I did, -6. In step number 2, I have to divide -6 by 2. I did. We got -3. In step 3, I have to square -3, and I get 9. In step 4, I add 9 to both sides. That's the method of completing the square. Now, this left-hand side is a perfect square. The right-hand side is 7. Now, you understand why I will not move -2 to the other side. So can anyone tell us what we have on the left-hand side for x squared minus 6x plus 9?
X minus 3
Awesome. Well done.
squared.
Very good. Awesome. X minus 3 squared indeed from the first day of classes. We know that. And now, what do I need to do? No, but you're on the right track. But it's not squared, but it's
Square root.
take the square root. So this is x minus 3 equals?
Plus or minus.
Very good. Plus or minus the square root of 7, and we get 3 plus or minus the square root of 7. This is the method of completing the square. Next step. Solve the equation using the quadratic formula. Any questions on this? This is part of what I asked, and please, I'm begging again, redo all problems we did in class. That's the first step. That's the first layer of knowledge. To redo the problems we did in class. And take notes and redo them. Okay, so x squared plus 13x plus 42 equals 0. We're asked to use the quadratic formula.
So x equals -13 square root of 13 squared.
Plus or minus, very
Oh, yeah,
important,
right, plus or minus.
the square root of 169, it's 13 squared, minus 4ac over 2a. So it's 168, 169 minus 168 is 1. So x equals -13 plus or minus 1 over 2. We have to separate them because we can't simplify. If we can't simplify, there is no point. Any questions?
So on the test, you wanted to do the separation here.
Yes, because we have no choice. They are simplifiable, so I have to separate them. If they cannot be simplified, for example, here, I will not ask you to do that because we cannot simplify 3 plus the square root of 7 and 3 minus the square root of 7. It's done. But here I have no choice. -13
Okay.
minus 1 is -14 over 2 is -7. And -13 plus 1 is -12 over 2 is -6.
So if on the test we were just to like factor that like x plus 6 and x plus 7, would you make that wrong? Like,
Say it again.
use the quadratic formula? Because you can just like that's factorable. So
If it says use the quadratic formula, you have to use the quadratic formula. I'm sorry. Okay. The area of a rectangular wall of a barn is 27 square feet. So this is a rectangle, and the area is 27 square feet. Its length is 6 feet longer than the width. The length is 6 feet longer than the width. How do we denote the length? What do you want to denote the width by?
X.
X. So then the length will be?
X plus 6.
Awesome. So now yes?
No.
And the question is, find the length and the width of the wall of the barn. How do I proceed? And what is the area of a rectangle? The area of the rectangle is? Very good. So then this is length times width equals 27. What type of equation is this, and how do I solve for x? That's the question now. I have to solve for x. Very good. And now I do have to move 27 because I'm not going to complete the square. So 27 is part of the problem. Previously, I was not going to, if you remember your question, you said move -2. It's not in the problem. Has no effect on the completing the square. But here I have no choice because I'm not going to complete the square. And I'm hoping that I can factor this easily. If I cannot factor, then I will go back and use the quadratic formula. So how do I factor this?
X plus 9, x minus 3.
Awesome. So then I have two options for the width. What are the options? -9 feet, unacceptable, and 3 feet. In this case, the length will be 9. So the length of the rectangular wall is 9 feet and the width is 3. Let's go to the next page.
Because I don't understand how you got the x plus 6. I don't understand.
Its length is 6 feet longer than the width. You have an unknown number of dollars in your pocket, and I have 6 more than what you have. If I have X, what do I have?
Oh.
I have X plus 6. So if the width is X and this is 6 feet longer, then this is X and this is X plus 6. Better? Perfect. Moving on to the next question. So this is X cubed plus 3x squared equals 81x plus 243. Again, I'm asking myself, what type of equation is it? It is polynomial. Degree?
3.
How many solutions I have to find? 3 solutions. What do I have to do in this case?
Set equals 0.
Awesome. X cubed plus 3x squared minus 81x minus 243 equals 0. How many terms again?
3.
How many terms?
4.
Perfect. And what is the only method for 4 terms? Thank you very much. Awesome. So please tell me what you want to factor out from the very first 2.
X squared.
Awesome. Well done. What is left in parentheses?
X plus 3.
What do I have to have coming out of parentheses? And I have to have equal symbol and 0 in here before I look.
X plus 3.
A must. Very good. Awesome. So please tell me what we have. I need the sign and the factor.
Minus 81.
Awesome. What is the common factor that comes out?
X plus 3.
Very good. Well done. And then
X squared minus 81.
what do I do with x squared minus 81, please?
X squared.
Very good. I'm ready when you are.
X minus 9. X
Very
plus
good.
9.
Awesome. So you're giving me 3 solutions as promised. Perfect. Well done. Next one. The square root of x plus 13 equals x minus 7. What type of equation is this?
Rational.
Radical. What do I need to remember about radical? For rational, I have to remember about restrictions. But for radical, there is something else I have to remember for sure. To no, T-O, not T-W-O. To do what? Plug it back in the original problem. Because they may or may not work. So always remember that. Good. What do I do? Yes, because the radical is already isolated. Awesome. Well done. Now what? Awesome. Be careful what you give me on the right hand side, please. From the first day of classes.
X squared plus 14.
Yes, but it's negative. You're right. But it's negative.
Oh, there's
Plus 49.
Very good. Awesome. Very well done. Thank you. Now, what type of equation is this?
Quadratic.
What do I do now? Set it equal to?
0.
Very good. So I have x squared. I subtract x. And I subtract 13. Subtract x from both sides and subtract 13 from both sides. I hope to quickly factor so I can move on. The product is 36. The sum is negative 15.
Negative
Yes?
12.
Very good, awesome. Negative 12 and negative 3. So two options here. Very good. With a question mark, as we discussed. This is a dangerous situation. We squared both sides. They may or may not work. We don't know. So I have to go back to the original problem. And this is the original problem. I will plug in 12. 12 plus 13.
25.
Good. Square root of 25.
5.
So the left-hand side is 5. The right-hand side is? Good. I will say yes. Now I'm checking 3. 3 plus 13.
16.
Square root of 16.
4.
So this side is 4. What is this side?
5. Is that 3?
Negative 4. Is 4 the same thing with negative 4?
No.
No. You can go away. Number 3, it's not good. You're not good. Okay, solve the equation by making an appropriate substitution. Then you know exactly the type of equation this is. What type is it? If we're asked to solve using a substitution, what are we really telling? What are they telling us already?
Set x squared equals
It's quadratic in
form.
exactly. Quadratic in form. It's not quadratic. Let's write on the side. You can say it's polynomial, and I have to agree. How many solutions?
4.
So if you say it's quadratic in form but also polynomial, I have to say yes to both. You're correct. It is quadratic in form, but it's also polynomial. So we expect 4 solutions. What do we say? Let y be what? Very good, awesome. Indeed. Only if this quantity is exactly. Only if it is y squared. So then, what do I conclude?
Y minus 5y.
Y squared. Yes. Minus 5y. This is y. X squared is y. Plus 4 equals 0. Very good. Well done. So what do I do with this? Perfect. Well done.
Y minus 4 minus y minus 1.
So then I get y equals and y equals. Perfect. What equation is this, really? Exactly. X squared equals? Exactly. What equation is this? Very good. Now, what will I do with this? What method? I have 4 methods of solving quadratic equations. Which one is the best right now? Taking the square root, indeed. You could also factor. It's not a problem. So we get x equals and x equals.
Plus or minus 1.
Very good.
Plus or minus 2.
Very good. How many solutions we expect? Did we get 4? Good. Woo! I know we have 3 more minutes, so let's look at the inequality. X minus 10 over 4 greater than or equal to x minus 5 over 6 plus 1 over 12. Okay, what will you say? What type of inequality is this? Obviously, it's an inequality, but what type? Very good, awesome. It is a linear inequality. What do you recommend we do? Yes, we multiply both sides by the least common denominator, which is? Very good. Let's do that. I recommend multiplying by 12 over 1 because they're all fractions and it's easier to first simplify and then multiply. So, so the first simplified form here is 3 times x minus 10 greater than or equal to, I simplify by 6. So it's 2x minus 5. And then I simplify by 12 and I have plus 1. Then I distribute. Is this okay? Yes? So then 3x minus 30 greater than or equal to 2x minus 10 plus 1. So this is 3x minus 30 greater than or equal to 2x minus 9. Now I move terms around. I move 2x and I get x greater than or equal to 21. In interval notation, please. X in the interval. Yes, with the bracket. Very good. Comma.